What's up, folks? Casual Dad here, and I promised to no one, and no one took me up on it, so I don't know if I'm actually committed to this, but I promised, my dear listeners, that I would ladder with the League Votann this season. I've touched on it before, I've tried to do it before, and this season I'm actually doing it. We're in I believe we're about to start week 4 of the ladder season. I'll double check that in a second. Recording this a little bit early, but it has been super fun and super challenging. I hit a pretty hard wall right at the 2.5k trophy mark, just because I'm really, really feeling the stats. So most of my cards are around this level. They're pushing like second level traits. Let me actually look at my cards there. So they're pushing second level traits. Some of them have third level, but not the really powerful cards. And I'm missing a couple of the kind of most powerful cards here. And especially my Warlords, my Etok, and I'll show you at least one game of each. So Etok is only level 5, quote unquote, so I just got that big buff in psychic damage before Inspiring Presence. So he hits pretty dang hard, but not as hard as he's going to by any means. And also, one of the big weaknesses I'm finding is his hit points. He doesn't ever get that sturdy, even later in the game, but more than 163, and you can feel that. So either the hit points or the damage or both are kind of letting me down in a lot of these games, and so my win rate is about 2 and 5. Now, usually the math works out in my favor, where I'm losing matches where I'm unfavored and winning ones where I am also unfavored. So I'm winning more points than I'm losing, but it's a very slow slog. Of the two, I personally was going out on a limb saying Etok is the more powerful of the two because of his ability to shut down opposing card abilities. Well, turn traits off, including Warlord traits if you hit the Warlord with it. Super powerful, but it does rely on your cards dying. But then so does the other Warlord. If we're going to go straight to our buddy Uthar, his ability is when a friendly card dies, it applies a judgment token to that enemy card, and the enemy card that made the kill, that is. And that will lose a minimum of 15% of its starting wounds when damaged by an attack. That one is really, really powerful against thin decks. You go up against an Abaddon or a Greater Demon heavy deck, it really makes a huge difference. But in most games, you will have more opportunity for Etok to be impactful because there's never a time where you don't want to shut down an opponent's trait. And it's just phenomenal. So you'll shut down like, oh, you have fear? Nah, no, you don't. Oh, you got shields? The happiest moments of my life are landing this guy across from, so you got that target acquired, and if he's the first card you deploy that turn, he has that null vortex that'll shut off opposing abilities. You drop this guy in front of Tigurius with full shields and his psionic blast, and it's the best thing in the world. But the thing is that both of them end up being extremely matchup dependent, so that's been really interesting. And real quick, just to talk about how I got here, I did buy 2 of the latest packs. And I saved up the plasma to buy Etok himself a couple copies when he came out. And then I have bought a few battle passes, but mostly I played every single Votann campaign, tried to get every single free Votann reward you can get. So that's where most of my cards are hitting that rank 2, rank 3 trait level, with the exception of the legendaries. So to get about rank 3 cost me around $20, maybe $30 total over about a year. So yeah, it's one of those things where I was invested in doing it because I wanted to see how the faction worked out. So I've spent a little more than I normally would. I did want to go ahead and flag that I haven't spent hundreds of dollars, but I have spent some money on these guys. So just throw it out there. In terms of what decks have been the most competitive, for both of these guys, they need some chaff cards that will die because you can just count on the abilities happening just as your cards die normally. You don't really want to bank on them entirely. You want to make sure your deck is competitive if your traits never trigger, and then when they do, it's just a bonus. That applies to both Warlords. I did also find that ranged attacks are much more powerful for both of them. The big reason being that Barrage is really good with judgment tokens because it buffs up the damage that the opposing cards are taking off lane if they have a judgment token. And then with Null Vortex, of course, it's really good where you can kind of focus down the cards that are destatted, but then also work across lanes and hit multiple cards. And then also, because they have the highest single target damage. And because ranged is more common in the game, and so you're going to go up against more ranged decks, so when they shoot you, you then shoot them back, or you discourage them from shooting you entirely. And it may just be because of card level or the cards I have. I do find that for Votann, up to now, pure ranged is dramatically more powerful than pure melee or a mix. Especially since these heavy shielded guys are quite low level for me. Well, not quite low level, but like this guy, his attack stats are nothing to write home about. There's so many better options. And then this one here, there's just so many better options at that price point. And this one, he's really low level. So anyway, we're going to have talked enough. I'm going to play one game with Etok, one game with Uthar, and we'll kind of see how it's going. This is, again, I'm actively laddering right now, so you should see around a 2K match. And these are Terra. I'm about 10K trophies right now, so I'm in the competitive Terra games, which makes a difference. So this is terrific. If I play my cards right, I will get a chance to shut down Shadow Sun's ability herself, so her heal and do extra damage, I can turn that off. And right off the bat, I'll be like, yeah, I don't want your taunt. Functionally, it's going to be about the same because I will be shutting down the taunt and then killing it, which I would, oh boy, I would kill it the same turn anyway. So that's what's tricky too, is also Votann are a little bit slow. So when you're deploying your cards, it's not at all unusual to be like, oh, that's the one I shut down. And then the next card to drop, you're like, I sure wish I shut that down. So one of the things I'm really enjoying about playing Etok is that careful play and understanding the game is absolutely huge in playing against him. Or playing as him, rather. Ouch. Good news, that means I get to play another card soon. Bad news, that means I lost one of my powerful play pieces very quickly. Now here we have a tricky choice. So I can turn off the taunt and then single target against the Riptide. Or we can go over here. Oh man, okay. Yeah, we're going to do this. Okay, so here's the thought process. I'll shut off the taunt so that... but I still have to kill it. Okay. If I had a barrage in the middle that could guaranteed kill that right now, that would be phenomenal. But as it is, I'm going to regret this. But here's the thing. So when Shadow Sun deploys, she adds 20 range damage to every friendly card on the board. Oh, excuse me. In a Shadow Sun deck, when the final Tau card is played, that's all very key to have all of that involved, then Shadow Sun will heal all of them to full health and give them all plus 20 range damage. If you play that Null Vortex on her, that does not happen, which is just the best. And so here, but I don't think I'm going to get that because I want to go ahead and do this. I want to take him down, and I may or may not have the damage to actually do it. And when you're at this point with Shadow Sun, when you're just taking down the last couple cards in the deck, you really, really want to take out the tougher cards first. Because if you take out one of the squishy cards first, then every single hit you made against the tougher card is wasted. Because if I kill this guy, then this guy will go back to full health, even if I had him down to 1. So I want to make sure to kill him as quickly as possible. And that certainly will help. Oh, I got him. Okay. And now here's my opportunity. I'm playing a dead card. I'm a Null Vortex your butt. Bring it on. You're not going to heal this Medicae. So that will take away Precision Shot, will take away the healing, that will take away the extra damage. I love it. Oh, I love it. And then I can take out this Medicae card comfortably without it healing up. And then, so Null Vortex has a timer. It's got 3 rounds total, and I just spent 1. If I don't kill this in the next 2 turns or reapply the Null Vortex, then that trait could pop up and she could heal again. So I do still need to be very careful with that. But yeah, that worked out well. Excuse me. So you can see just how impactful that ability is, but also how bit of a razor thin margin that was this whole time because I'm kind of outgunned by opposing decks. So that was Etok. You can see the ability in there. Really enjoyed it, and up against a pretty tough matchup where it was a overwhelming range deck that really had me beat, and it was only Etok's trait that really made that game turn for me. Because if she'd gotten that full-on heal off and that extra bonus damage, it's unlikely I could have cut through in time. Maybe. I don't know. Any second now. We're loading. Okay. Yeah, okay. We're going to give this a second to think, and then we're going to switch to Etok. And I'm hoping to get a good matchup where you can really... I'm not Etok, excuse me. I'm switching to Uthar. I'm really hoping that you get to see a matchup, and you can see it's a little bit different, but it is still very ranged focused. But I do have the Deathblow guy in here because he is just phenomenal for what you get, or for Uthar's trait for working through that. Because he does Deathblow, and the timing works out, so the Deathblow triggers before or after the Judgment Token is applied. So card kills your card, gets a Judgment Token, and then takes the Deathblow and takes the bonus 15% damage from the Judgment Token on that death blow. This guy's kind of a funny call. The points just worked out this way, and that is one of the tricky things about Votann is that they do have just such a low card count right now. Oh god. Okay, hold up. Just going to call it out right here. This is perfect because this is against a 4 bodycard deck or 5 bodycard deck. So it's a very thin deck, so I outnumber it, but then also I do have this golden opportunity to trigger these judgment tokens. One thing I like about Uthar is that in a lot of cases you can just be hyper aggressive because your whole goal is to have the right stuff die and then the other stuff counterattack in such an aggressive way. Oh, this is going to be good. So here, we'll watch this. Riptide's going to kill him, apply the judgment token, then take the death blow and take a bunch of damage. 100 damage from a 10-point death blow card. Woo! And what's great is this guy's 10 range damage now will do a minimum of 100 damage. So if you manage to play this guy against a really big card, the ability is just completely off the rocker. So he's going to take 200 damage from this guy's 10 and this guy's extra barrage. It's going to be crazy. We're going to save that. We're going to do that. Now, I still will probably run out of steam, though. He's probably got another Riptide in there, which is a bummer. And one of the things about this is despite the power of these abilities, it really is not enough to win the game by itself. You still need the stats. You still need the traits. You still need to... Oh, yeah, okay. Long strike. Yikes. Okay, good. So I'm lucky here because he's lower level, so he's only got that single shield, which will really help because that is extremely problematic. So the shield is down. Oh, man, okay. But then still... And this guy has got a judgment token, so he's taking 39. Wow, okay. One thing I do really want to highlight is Uthar is not a counter to Greyfax because his ability triggers on base health, which is before Greyfax's bonus. So it does nothing. I mean, it doesn't do nothing, but the judgment token does significantly less damage than you would hope for against Greyfax. And so there you can see that barrage is so good against those judgment tokens because the card takes that minimum damage. That also applies to fear. That applies to any damage reduction ability. It will cut through it. So that is great. So that was a fairly quick game. I'm going to play one more with Etok and then one more with Uthar, and then we'll call it a video. I don't want this to be super long, but I did want to highlight the experience because it's been a lot of fun. And not a lot of players will have seen Votann played at all, let alone competitive at this level. Turns out it can kind of hang. Somewhat earlier than I expected. I thought this was going to be a lot harder, and I was going to do it anyway, but and my internet connection is a little spotty here. But again, I was expecting this to be significantly harder more quickly, so I'm really kind of pleased with how it's been going. And so we said one more Etok and then maybe one more Uthar. We'll see how timing goes. I'm hoping to get like those dream matchups and then maybe some really bad matchups. Where if I get Uthar against Greyfax, you can see how horribly that goes. And on some level, all decks are matchup dependent. This is one I really, really, really wish I'd gotten the other way around. Because those judgment tokens are phenomenal against the Tolmeron. But they do nothing against... but the Null Vortex is still good, but it's just nowhere near as good as the judgment tokens in this matchup. And that's one thing that sucks. When I'm switching between the decks, I'm like, man, sure, I wish I had the other one in this round. Oh god, that was a lot of damage. Which of course it was. I really need to take that down. I wonder if I have enough, because these guys do a lot. Yeah, okay. These guys do a lot of range damage, especially for the level they are. And this is one of those unusual abilities that are moments though where I could, and I didn't get it. If I had my 40-point attack barge here, I would still play that in front of this because that Null Vortex would remove the big game hunter from it, which I would never ever do with basically any other similar matchup. And there it is. This guy right here. I should have this, playing pretty aggressively, and I may regret it. 110, yikes. Okay, so here's the thing though. If I shoot now, I will lose this guy in the following turn, so we're gonna ready. I probably will regret that when Tolmaron himself rolls out on the board and just does something terrible to me, but I think that was the better play. Ooh, maybe not. Ooh. Okay. Got a whole lot of ready value. Go ahead and do it. If this guy lives, this is going to get considerably more challenging. I do think he's about to, because I have to shoot these two. Ooh, no, he's not. Well, man, that was a lot of damage. But that's a bummer. Oh, nuts. Okay. And now here's where you're really going to feel those stat differences, because this is the moment where Etok really should be able to close this out. Like, War Speaking himself... Okay, so he's not going to one-shot this guy. War Speaking himself should be able to take this down, but I don't think he's going to. Oh, that's terrible. And we're going to have to see... So we got the Null Vortex, which doesn't matter until he's level 9 when he starts getting that Inspiring Presence. So I've got 97... What's my melee? So I'm forced to do kind of a stupid choice here, as I can do ranged and kill that, which I don't want to do. So we'll do this. Now the advantage here is if he does ranged... Oh, and I think my base? Ah, I got it. Okay. Unless he can pull something out of his hat here, which he did not. I got him. Whew. Okay. But I've had these exact... Oh, no! No, I got too... Okay, and this is exactly the experience where it's come up, where, like, I'm just too low level to pull it. Oh, no, Inspiring Presence. Whew! God, roller coaster, y'all. Man, okay, I got it. But you can see if he had 7 more hit points, it would have been just game over. Yeah, so that was extremely lucky. Proud of my play on that one, but still a little bit jittery after that. That was crazy. Okay, one more Uthar, just to see it. And then we will call it a video, because I know this is getting somewhat long. But I really wanted to highlight this again, because it has been a lot of fun. And I'm going to keep playing Votann. I'm probably not going to play them every season. Just kind of depends on the reward and how I'm feeling at that point, because it's can get old playing the same factions over and over again, and I don't want these guys to get old, because they are really fun. Alright, Manifest Nightmare. Okay, so this is a good matchup because it's a small deck, not a lot of cards, so I'm going to see something scary. It's against a fear-heavy defense ability deck. So the Judgment tokens are probably going to come in handy because they'll cut right through things like that. Ooh. Another quirk on this one is that the Judgment tokens... If, say, you're punching through shields, you're doing enough overflow damage to do like 1 damage through shields, that still will do bonus damage based on your Judgment token. So like this guy right here, if this dude gets like 3 kills, then suddenly is taking a minimum of, what is that, 45%? It'll take a minimum of almost half its health every time it takes any damage. So all you have to do is deal it a single damage through those shields or otherwise to really hit the thing hard. And even here, I love this. So this guy has, what, 2 melee, but it's going to do dramatically more here because Judgment token. And it did the full 34, even though that was reduced by Manifest Nightmare. So that's the thing. It is kind of a trump ability, too, where it does end up on the top of the stack. Ooh, maximum. Oh, I love it. See that? Oh, man. Yeah, okay. And a thin deck stacks up quickly. But at the same time, I can't get too cocky because I am going to start taking some damage here. Or just run out of cards. Like, for all the benefit that these Judgment tokens are doing, I am still losing cards a lot more aggressively than I want to. And not even there. I didn't really have the extra card to lose. What damage does that do? 76. Okay, that's right. 94. Oh, God. Oh, that's bad. But I do think that Uthar himself should be enough to bring down the Manifest Nightmare, depending what level it is. And mine, I mean, he's only got 2 shields. He does have Inspiring Presence. I really want to get that 3rd shield. He's only got 54 base damage for a 42 cost. Like, he's not great at this points level, but his abilities... Oh, no, he's got a Medicate. Of course he does. Alright, so getting a sense of how much damage I will be doing here. And, of course, my melee is against a melee and my range against a range. This is, like, the exact place I don't want my bodyguards to be in. That, though, I don't mind him nailing me for melee damage. So we're just going to have to play this by ear, I guess. And it is a bummer that Manifest Nightmare has both a ranged and a melee attack, so I can't do anything without risking losing a shield. It is funny that he's leaning on melee. I guess that is better than going ranged. This guy does not have a ranged attack. Can I punch through the guy on the left? I can. Let's do it. I may regret that. So I think now, yeah, he's got the melee to kill me. That's a bummer. Okay. Womp womp. By 2. Oh, so close. So yeah, like that, those hit points were so close. I should have had that. But then I just didn't have the hit points or the stats to pull it out. So that's been the experience a lot, where this is the wall. That was unusually good. That was 3 and 1. So I'm proud of that. That went well. But anyway, that is laddering with the Leagues Votann in Terra at kind of middle-low level for cards. So hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you're trying it yourself.